Hey Toy Family! Welcome to the Marsham Toy Hour, where we discuss anything and everything designer toys. I'm your host, Gary Ham, and Teresa and George, they're taking the week off, and actually last week we had the week off, and during that week there were two toy conventions, or just two conventions. There was New York City Comic Con, or I'm sorry, not New York City, but New York Comic Con, and then there was also TTF, which is the Taipei Toy Festival. And the previous month, in I think September, was also STGCC, which is the Singapore Toy Games and Comics Convention. So what I thought we would do this week is invite several guests who attended each of these and just have them share their convention experiences. So all three of tonight's guests did attend STGCC. And, well, let's just go ahead and announce our guests. So without further ado, joining us tonight is our Taipei Toy Festival correspondent and the Toy Whisperer himself, Don Datadub Kratzer.
Hi.
And back from Singapore and seeing the movie It, the Beast Boy, Carlos East, is making a return. Nice to have you back, Carlos.
What's up?
And our eyes and ears at New York Comic Con and first-time guest on the show, Deanne George of Sorbet Jungle.
Hello.
Hey, well, thanks for coming on, Deanne. And let's fill the listeners, anyone who's not familiar with her. I know they're familiar with Don and Carlos, but for anyone who's not familiar with Deanne is the founder and lead designer of a very popular U.S.-based brand called Sorbet Jungle.
Yep.
And I highly suggest anyone head over to sorbetjungle.com. Deanne is responsible for all the designs. It's a wide array of very cute and whimsical characters, a lot of very fun wordplay designs with the animals. And our most popular character is probably the Croconana, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a crocodile banana. And it recently saw its very first Sofubi production. And I think, am I correct in Deanne in saying the first colorway of the Croconana was released at New York Comic Con?
Correct, yeah. I was really excited to finally get a Sofubi of one of my characters. We did New York Comic Con, the first actual color release, and then at Taipei Toy Festival we had a limited glow in the dark for a lottery.
Nice, getting coverage at two conventions in the same weekend.
Wow.
It was pretty exciting, but I have a lot of people to thank for helping me do that.
Is Don one of them?
Don is one of them.
You're welcome.
And Corey.
Mr. Science Patrol.
Yeah, Science Patrol. And so, Deanne, Don was telling me that you do a lot of conventions. So are you just on the convention circuit pretty much?
I am. We do probably at least 3 conventions a month.
A month?
Wow.
Holy cow.
We're now worthy.
I had no idea. I didn't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of conventions, but you must be doing all sorts of other conventions that maybe we're not exactly familiar with.
Like anime and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. A lot of anime conventions and comic conventions primarily because there aren't a lot of toy conventions in the U.S. yet. I'd say majority of those are going to be anime conventions.
Wow. Okay, so you did a lot of conventions, but I think for the purpose of this recording, let's go ahead and focus on STGCC, Taipei Toy Festival, and New York Comic Con. So, Don, you were at Taipei.
Yep.
All three of you were at Singapore,
Yeah.
and then Deanne, you were at New York Comic Con. So, how about we just jump right into some Comic Con talk?
Yeah, convention talk.
So, Don, I'm gonna throw you the mic. You're gonna be the MC for the evening.
What up, what up?
Ouch! Watch where you're throwing that mic.
So, what should we talk about first? Which convention? Where should we go?
Let's start with Singapore.
Okay.
So for Singapore, one of my hats I work for 1000 Toys, and we make the Micatro Wego robot, and we've been doing a custom show that kicked off at DCon last year. If anybody went to DCon last year, they saw the first iteration of that, and so we've been taking that custom show with us as we go to shows around the world. We've taken it to ToyCon UK, and we took it to the 5 Points, and then we took it to Wonder Festival here over the summer, and then we've been planning to take it with us to all the shows here in Asia. And I mean, in the night that the custom show, one thing it's really cool, but one thing it does, it kind of helps us kind of get a bigger booth space and work with the event organizer, because they like it when we bring something sexy like that, and it's sort of a win-win. Singapore, though, it's kind of a more conventional Comic-Con. It's not just it's kind of like San Diego in the old days. It's a straight up Comic-Con with sort of an indie toy section.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, we really like the idea of the custom show. We want you to bring artists because then we can use that for promotion. They were like, if you bring 3 artists, you can get a discount on a 10 by 10 booth. But if you bring 4 artists, you can get a double space.
What do you get for $19.95? Do you get like an extra set of knives with that or something?
Yeah. Buy one, get one free, kind of.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my mission, was to line up 4 artists to bring with us. And originally, if you remember the last time I was on, we were talking with Teresa Chiba, and she was planning to be one of our 4. And as you know, she kind of leads this upcoming group of really, really great female artists, including Kaori Hinata and Yasu and Kaiju Dan and Hikari Bambi. And so the idea was kind of just, let's take the woman power self-final group with us. And so we pretty much had those 4 lined up. And then Teresa had kind of a conflict. She ended up having to go to the Beijing show, which was this weekend. And she graciously let me know when I was in San Diego Comic-Con. And that was actually the first time I met Carlos.
Yeah.
The first time ever?
Yes.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
we talked on the Marsham Toy Hour before, but it was the first time meeting him in person.
And I knew about you from from the same people, same circles, but never
Right.
got to meet.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing any like photo documentation of you whispering in his ear like we did when you were in Singapore.
The thing is, I already know the secret.
Oh.
He doesn't need to tell me.
What is the secret that you're whispering? Like, what lies and rumors are you spreading, Don?
Actually, I'm telling everybody what Carlos told me.
Exactly. But I'm not saying.
You're not supposed to believe any word that Carlos says.
You have to go to a convention. First, you have to go to a convention, and then.
No, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not worth it. It's probably like, I don't know,
Or it is worth it.
some nonsensical nonsense.
It's the secret of how to make money in toys.
Like I said, nonsense.
That's the secret I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So back to my story. So I was talking with Carlos and telling him that I needed to wrangle 4 artists, and Carlos said, well, I'll go. So
Yeah.
that was super awesome.
Thanks.
He was going to do that, and then I kind of had 3 Japanese artists pretty solidly lined up, Kaori and Yasu and one more, but then that 3rd artist decided they couldn't make it, and then Deanne said, well, I'm interested in going. So it all worked out in the end, and actually it was a really, really, really nice mix.
Yeah.
To have 2 Western artists and 2 Japanese artists. Everybody did live painting. Everyone did a custom for the WeGo show. It was actually the first time 1,000 Toys had kind of done something like that with artists in the booth, and the guys really enjoyed that.
Can I ask you something?
You sure can.
When you're inviting artists from overseas, like before you were working with Teresa Chiba and her crew, and they were like in Japan, but then Deanne and Carlos are here in the States. Like, are you sponsoring them? Are you helping pay for flight and housing and all that sort of stuff when you bring someone over?
Did a little bit of subsidization, and then we handled the payment, the sales of their products.
Okay, so there's some assistance financially to get them over there. Okay, nice. Lucky you two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I really had a good time. Like Don said, it was a good mixture of Western and Japanese. So we were all, laughing and having good food. The coffee in there is amazing. I miss it.
The coughing?
The coffee.
The coffee.
Coffee makes a lot more sense.
Don't get it on a white shirt because it never comes out.
Oh, dude, I was cleaning my backpack from the trip, and then for some reason I forgot that I had like a little baggie with a toast with butter and the spread. It didn't go off or anything. It just petrified, and I'm like, oh. They do this thing, Gary. It's called, what is it called?
Kaya toast.
Kaya. It's like a egg and coconut spread. Sounds gross, but it's amazing. So at the convention, my girlfriend Daniela and Don come and say like, "Oh, try these," and I try it, and I literally told them, "This is witchcraft. This is amazing." It was the most amazing toast I've ever eaten.
I'll
It
take
was
your word
amazing.
for it.
It
I'll
was
probably never get to try it.
well, maybe if you come to Decon, I bought some of that magical kaya.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get to try it.
Maybe I'll try it. Yeah, sounds doesn't sound good, but if you're saying it's
I know it doesn't sound good
represents,
at all.
no, it doesn't.
It is.
Yeah,
It
have
is really good.
you tried it too, Dan?
Taste.
Yeah, and I had it for breakfast before
Yeah.
I left.
Oh gosh. So what's it like going over to the East as Western artists? Do you feel, I know you feel like like a different representation there than you do probably at a New York Comic Con or a Designer Con? Like what's the feels for you as Westerners?
Well, it's a little bit different for me anyway, because a lot of the events that I've done here, people know my brand and have seen us there year after year.
Mhm.
So Singapore was much different because while we did have fans there, which wasn't sure that we would at all, it was a very different vibe. And the comic convention itself had a huge mix of things versus it being like geared towards one specific type of media. So there
Okay.
was toys and movies and animation, all of that in one.
Lots of Star Wars.
Games.
Lots of Star Wars.
On games, they had like a huge gaming area, and also they had a lot of what was that music that was behind us?
The anime stage.
Yeah,
Idol
Yeah.
stage.
The idol music.
yeah, they had the idol music.
Now
Yeah.
Singapore is it's an English speaking country for the most part. So did you need to have translators or anything while you were there?
Not at all.
Oh, nice.
No.
Okay.
That made it really easy.
And what about the currency exchange? Did you have to have? Could you work in American dollars there, or did you have to work in their currency?
No, you work on their currency and then you exchange.
Okay.
It's not bad. But it was very nice, and the people are super friendly. They really, they know that you're coming from like the other side of the world, so everybody's very accommodating. I've met people over there that I met the time that I went before, and they bought us coffee, and one of the guys got us like these awesome McDonald's limited edition Singaporean Independence burgers with like coconut chicken. Like they were
That was
super
good too.
super nice, super friendly. Everybody is very accommodating, and they make sure you have a good time.
Okay.
What year did you go before, Carlos? How
I
long
think
ago?
it was 2012. So it's crazy because one of the things I saw is that the convention got way bigger. When I went, it was like super small, and like a third of what it was right now.
Mm.
But there was a lot of the same people, and one of the people that I saw that time, it was the first time that Mighty Jacks had a booth.
Yep.
Like they just started.
Yep.
They had a little booth with like a couple of toys, and that was it. And this time, man, it was crazy. Their booth was like super big. They had like 10 to 15 people working it, like releases and licenses and signings, and it's insane, dude. So
Yeah,
it was nice to see that kind of like growth in somebody in our industry, because it gives you hope that there's still good things to come.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, Carlos, when you go out there to an Asian convention, does it feel different than what you experience in the United States? Because usually in the U.S., it's usually like the usual suspects. You're very familiar, have been doing it here for 10 plus years, and so then you go overseas, and it's a lot of more foreign companies. You're not seeing the Kid Robot and Super 7 and Clutter and all the companies that you're used to seeing. So does it still feel like designer toys to you out there?
Yeah, but it's like in Bizarro world, because you see lots of smaller artists that you don't really see out here. I mean, even with the internet and Instagram, I saw a lot of really amazing stuff. A lot. Like lots of up and coming designers, like I said. So it feels like the same, but different. It's the
Okay.
same thing that when I went to TTF in Taiwan, it was the same. Like a lot of like really cool stuff that you don't really see very often. So it's really hard to stay in the booth because you want to go see like all this amazing stuff and buy all these amazing toys, but at the
Sure.
same time you have to be in the booth and you have to be selling. So it's a hard task. But it was I don't know, I felt it's really cool to go to these places because it really opens your mind and your eyes to what people are consuming over there, like, you know.
Hmm.
Because let me tell you, dude, they are consuming. They are buying, like all the Chinese customers. Like, I don't know, dude, they're buying like crazy. Isn't it right, guys? Like the amount of like people buying stuff, it was crazy.
Commerce is happening. Yes.
Oh my God, it's like 10 years ago, Gary, for like, you know, for our
Yeah.
seat
Yeah,
in
no,
here.
exactly. That's kind of what I was kind of trying to get at earlier. Is it just feels like there's something different going on in the East than what I'm very familiar with here in the States. Like you go to the conventions here, and it's a lot of the usual suspects and whatnot, and then the releases there's really strong releases and good releases, but I
Yeah.
don't think there's like consistent sellouts or the need for lotteries and stuff like that. Like most of the stuff released seems to still be available at the last day of the convention. And I feel like when I'm watching the Eastern conventions just through social media, I don't know if this is just the hype machine that makes it seem like everything's selling out, but it
Yeah.
really feels like there's something different going on in the East. And that's kind of what I wanted to get your perspective on, Carlos, is there a different feeling or experience or atmosphere or so? Is there something noticeably different for you when you go to an Eastern convention versus what you have known and experienced here in the West?
Well, I think Singapore, it wasn't too crazy. I mean, compared to like what I see in Japan or what I saw at TTF. And one thing I don't know is that there was that big new show in Beijing, the BTS show,
Yeah.
where a lot of I think a lot of the same stuff was available actually,
Mhm.
and several of the artists were there, and maybe some of the people who have enough money to fly anywhere in Asia to get stuff might have gone to that show. But yeah, there were still. I mean, the line for the new ice cream dinosaur was crazy. Apparently, that
Right.
was the first release. That was actually released at Action City.
Yeah, the one by Ziki, right?
Ziki.
Yeah, so it was Ziki, and it was produced through Unbox and released at Action City. I think it was that toy looked amazing. I think it was the first release of the colorway was going to be at Singapore, and I wanted that toy. I actually thought about reaching out to you, and because I knew you were going there and seeing if you could pick it up, and then I thought better of it. It's like Asia convention, new toy, gonna be super popular, gonna be lines like crazy. Like, no, can't do that. But very cool toy.
There was
Yeah.
two colors actually released, right? There was a regular vanilla and a chocolate, I believe.
Yeah.
But apparently, yeah, you had to stand in line for 2 hours, and you had to download an app. Part of it.
Yeah.
No thanks.
My PowerCore colleague Jen, actually, he went through the whole ordeal.
Wow.
Oh man, and that's what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm not seeing it here in the States, but it seems like when I'm following things just through social media of the Asian conventions, like a lot of sellouts, a lot of lotteries and waiting in lines and crazy lines. I remember over the weekend I saw even Science Patrol was saying that he had to postpone one of his lotteries just because the lines were so crazy to get in or something like that. So he extended the lottery to allow the chance of more people to be able to partake in his lottery. And I just don't know. I'm not seeing too much of that here in the West, but in the East, it seems like things need to be handled in that manner, and that's amazing and that's awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you'll see some of it at Decon, for sure.
But it's only
Yeah,
on the
this year.
only in the kaiju stuff.
Yeah, it's only on the Eastern stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's Paul Kaiju and there's a few Western guys that are doing really well, but the hype around the Eastern stuff is just different than what's going on in the West. And I don't know if it's because small run size or if there's just this real explosion that's going on in the East is what for us stateside was what we experienced in 2006. Is that
Yeah.
what's currently going on in the East?
That's what
Is
it
there
feels
kind
like.
of a reboom, a
That's
resurgence?
what it feels like. And also I think they like the lottery thing. It's kind of like an extra excitement, you know? And I also saw a lot of people live streaming, kind of like flipping on the go. Like they were like live streaming, like with their cameras, with video, like what they had, and the people started like on the message, like on the text or whatever. Like when you do like a live Instagram video, people started doing bidding pretty much like on live. It was crazy. Like
Did you see that in Singapore?
yeah, I saw that in Singapore in that booth where they sell like the big King Corpse.
Oh, the Instinct?
Yeah, Instinct toys.
Yep.
Yeah, they were like those guys were fucking killing it.
Yeah.
Like I asked, and they had like 2,000 tickets total, and they sold everything.
Get this. In Taipei, Singapore, I think they pre-sold everything by lottery, and it was just a pickup at the show.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's touch on Taipei Toy Fest. That is, from my outsider experience, it seems like that's the big Asia convention, right? It's like a 4 or 5 day convention. It's been around for like what, 12? Is it 12 or 14 years?
14.
14 years. I mean, it's long going. It seems to be the one where, I mean, I've followed it quite a bit, looking at hashtags on Instagram this weekend, and it seems like every day is packed. It's constant sellouts, lines, lotteries. People just couldn't seem to keep stuff on stock. I mean, that's the big one, right, Don?
Yeah. I mean, it's I call it the decon of the East, but maybe decon is the TTF of the West. I'm not sure. Because they've both been going about 14 years, I'd say. Yeah, Taipei Toy Festival is one of the first completely indie toy shows as well. If you think back, I mean, 10 years ago, almost everything was a section in a Comic-Con. The Taipei show has always been a 100%, well, mainly indie toy event.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it's 4 days. It's 4 long days from 10 to 8.
Wow, that is a long day.
So that's 40 hours. This year they tried a new system for the first day. It was apparently it was an epic. It didn't go well. So they actually had a lottery for people on how the order they could enter the convention, and they actually sold. I think there was about 10 different artists. You could get your ticket for the show was actually specifically to get in line for a certain artist.
Oh, really?
You could get like a Punk Drunkers DTF ticket, and so on top of it too, it was pouring rain the first day, and it took them about 2 hours to get people into the show.
Oh man!
So
maybe that's what Corey was talking about with having to extend the lottery time.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that sucks.
So
I mean,
if the convention's so popular, and I hear a lot of people think that they're selling out, do you need to go on day 2 and 3? If everything is it like San Diego Comic-Con where the big like purchase night is Wednesday, the preview night, and then after that it's just trickling sales? How is it at the Taipei Toy Fest? Is it the first day everything kind of sells out, and then the rest of the 3 days is this kind of mellow?
A lot of the bigger booths actually did release different stuff on different days. The show was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So primarily, several of the booths would have stuff for Saturday and stuff for Sunday.
Okay.
And then a couple people I know did stuff for Monday as well. Also, some booths would have stock that was only available, like a certain amount of stuff for each day.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, obviously it starts at the beginning and then it kind of tails down from there.
Now, what are you doing there, Don? Are you there to kind of network, or are you there buying toys, or when you go there, what's your main objective?
Well, this time I went just with 1,000 toys. So we took the Mechatro Wego custom show and showed it at the Wrong Gallery. And we also had some toys on sale through them. And then the rest of the time it was networking, meetings.
Okay. Now, is Taipei Toy Fest the same date every year, or does it fluctuate on dates?
In the last 5 or 6 years, yeah, it's been the same date.
Okay, cool. So there's a date that anyone who wants to go out and experience this decon of the East is it's a reliable hard date. I know it seems like you mentioned that Singapore and the Beijing Toy Show ended up happening on the same weekend. It seems like some of these new conventions popping up aren't exactly aware of some of the other conventions that might be competition and sort of overlapping and forcing artists or vendors to pick and choose which convention to go to. So it's nice to know that Taipei is the same weekend every time.
Yeah, I need to get a drink of water. So
Yeah,
hang on 1 second.
Cough it.
You ever hear Howard Stern show where they give Gary Delabate a hard time about all of his throat clearing?
Dude, I hate that show.
Oh, really?
I don't find it any funny at all.
No? I mean, it depends. It depends. I know a lot of people get hung up on the crass and gross.
No. Don't get me wrong. I love that kind of stuff, but for some reason, his voice rubs me the wrong way.
Howard is probably one of the best interviewers of all time. Oh, no, not you.
We're talking about
Howard Stern.
Okay.
He is an amazing interviewer. He gets things out of people that they don't even know that they're giving up. It's
that's true. And I saw him in New York, dude. He's huge.
Oh yeah, he's a giant gork.
He's super tall.
Okay, I'm ready to answer your question.
Well, I think before we get to your question, this is a good time to mention some of our sponsors. So on the Marsham Toy Hour, we have some great sponsors. So for all your designer toy needs and desires and wants and all that good stuff, you got holiday shopping coming up. Be sure to check out 3dretro.com. And 3D Retro also has a beautiful brick and mortar location out there in Southern California. And then there is StrangeCatToys.com. And if you go to Strange Cat Toys, be sure to load up that cart and use promo code MARSHAM at checkout to receive 10% off your entire order. And if you're looking to stay on top of all the recent designer toy news and releases and all that good stuff, you should be sure to check out some awesome toy blogs, SpankyStokes.com and TheToyChronicle.com. And actually, if you're an app person, the Toy Chronicle has a nice, easy-to-use app that's available on any one of your app stores. So just go to Apple Store or Play Store or anything like that and type in The Toy Chronicle, and away you go. Where were we?
You were talking about the show dates.
Oh, right. So I just wanted to confirm with you that Taipei Toy Fest it's always held in October, usually around the same dates. It's just, if anyone listeners want to go out, it's something like a reliable time frame they can plan for.
Right. Well, the interesting thing I've noticed is that the Taipei Toy Festival and Toy Seoul in Hong Kong and Art Toy Culture in Korea, they seem to be formed kind of a consortium. They have booths at each other's conventions to cross promote.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of good that they kind of they're aware of each other, and they're cross promoting, and so they won't step on each other's toes. I believe the Beijing show, that was the same weekend as Singapore, also kind of is coordinating. So at least the Asia shows are trying to kind of make it so it's a nice, they stay out of each other's ways.
Right.
I kind of assume that everybody's aware of Decon.
Yeah.
And that a lot of.
So speaking of Decon, let's talk about scale of some of these Eastern conventions. So if you're saying that Taipei is sort of like the Decon of the East, how big scale-wise is Taipei Toy Fest compared to, say, DesignerCon?
I would say Taipei is about the same number of artists and about a quarter of the space. So it's a very, very dense show.
And then what about something that's like the Beijing Toy Show or an Art Toy Culture? Is that significantly smaller?
The pictures I haven't been to either of those shows, but what I saw from the Beijing Toy Show, it looked like they spent. Pop Mart, who produced it, spent a lot of money. The videos I saw, it looked like the licensing show.
Yeah, it looked badass.
They spent a lot of money on booths and really went all out to make it something big. Art Toy Culture, I haven't been to that show. I assume it's a little bit smaller. Singapore was inside of a bigger Comic-Con. but I would say it's similar to maybe ToyCon UK. And Toy Sol's a bit smaller as well. Sometimes it's kind of hard to compare because each show kind of has a different flavor and a different mix of what else is in there.
Okay. And how does the attendance compare, like the East versus West? Or it seems like, East is extremely well attended, but then you mentioned there's like some lotteries, how to get in and stuff like that. So is it comparable to like a designer con where people are lining up, 4 or 2 hours early and just hoping to get in? Or because they have lottery tickets, do you not have to line up? You just kind of show up when your time frame is. Paint a picture for us.
Taipei, every morning there was quite a long line to get in. So if you wanted to get in right at the stroke of when the door opened, yeah, you had to get in line. So I mean,
are people fairly polite though?
Oh yeah,
they're not aggressive and pushy and trying to cut. You go to San Diego and it's just you're instantly turned off to flippers just based on behavior alone. I imagine Asia for some reason just seems a little more polite and respectable in that regard. So is that the case?
I think for like the people who are the real fans and into it, I'd say most of them are pretty polite. I mean, you get that many people together and there's always going to be a few bad apples, but overall, Singapore actually was I didn't see any aggravating people at all. Taipei, there was a smidge, especially in the punk drunkers corner, looked pretty insane.
There was a lot of releases there I wanted, a lot of toys I was seeing, a lot of cool stuff from Ka-Sing Long. He actually was actually, I don't know if this is true. Tell me if this is true.
Okay.
Ka-Sing Long and Shoko Nakazawa, they collaborated on a toy, which is the Ka-Sing Long's popular character Labubu, who's essentially wearing what looks like a Byron costume. Looks amazing. But from what I'm getting from the social media is this was a complete surprise.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like anyone knew about it. They released it on day 3 or 4, and it was a completely secret release. And I think that's really cool that it's not, you're not going on a toy blog, it's not advertised, no one knows it's happening, that they're popular enough that they were like, we don't have to advertise it, we can just release this thing, and it sold out instantly. There was 2 colorways, but I think that's cool that they can do that. They can just drop something that's completely secret, unknown, multiple colorways, and still have instant sellouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. There was actually 3 different Labubu crossover.
Yeah, I saw a couple of those. I think they had like masks, kind of like samurai-ish.
There was like a Japanese demon one, and then Shonside did a nice one. Teresa would know who that is. Did a nice little cute one with his hug cat. But yeah, no one saw the Shoko Byron Labubu coming.
Wow,
so amazing!
It's kind of funny to see the 2 of them together because he's twice as tall as her easily.
Yeah.
So they're all creatures great and small when you see the 2 of them together, but.
It's a great collaboration. I mean, it's a fantastic piece.
Yeah.
I hope to one day get my hands on some of his stuff, but it seems like pretty hard to pull off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be in these places.
I don't, even if you're there, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think I would even be able to get it if I was there. I mean, I saw the lines, and I think I would be very confused on how the things are handled and whatnot. And I'm not a person that's going to wait in line 4 to 6 hours with I need a guarantee that I'm going to get something.
I think you can pull some strings, Gary. That good looks of you.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna shake a little booty. But
but
no, I think it looks like a great event. Tons of great releases. Had lots of stuff that really catches my eye for sure. And looks like a great event to make it out to.
I would highly recommend people who are into anything, especially cute stuff.
Definitely. That's my realm.
I kind of see Teresa's head exploding.
Yeah. Well, what about Deanne? Do you ever see yourself getting out there, Deanne?
I would love to go out there.
I mean, it sounds right up your alley. All that, especially Asia in general. Like just how much cute they have out there. I mean, it seems like you would be a perfect fit to do a lot of those conventions.
Yeah. And I would lose like a lot of money out there because I'd want to buy everything. And thankfully, New York Comic-Con was the same weekend, so I didn't have that pulling me out there. But I would love to get out there one of these years.
Well, now let's talk about New York Comic Con. How was that for you? I mean, it looked just as busy, just as insane. Everything, all the aisles looked packed, and I hear there was a smell of popcorn in the air.
Yeah, yeah, all of those things are true. Popcorn near us was really potent on Thursday, but it died down. I think they moved it, which was great, so we weren't standing there starving.
So,
And
was it a vendor just sitting there, just kettling corn and just carried over to you, or what's going on with the popcorn smell?
yeah, so they have a few little food cart vendors throughout the hall. And there
Okay,
was one that was popcorn, which, as you know, just kind of
yeah, kind of
fills the hall.
wafts. Mm-hmm.
But they also had frozen lemonade and ice cream, just small things like that that were easy
Yeah.
to eat, grab and go.
So, how
But
was
yeah, it
was
was
New York good for you?
yeah, it was great. We did better this year than last year. It was really packed, particularly, which was odd the last couple days. Like it was, you couldn't walk in the aisles.
Really?
Yeah, it's Thursday. It felt like more people were buying like larger ticket items and the exclusives and all of that. So there were a lot of people there, but it wasn't as congested.
Hmm.
So it was a different vibe. There were a lot of larger booths this year too. So uh, Uniqlo was there,
Really?
and they were promoting the Tick, and there was a few other really large booths. So it took up the whole like left side of the hall practically.
Oh man, so
Uh,
they're becoming the next San Diego. I mean, it was always a matter of time. It sounds like they're definitely going to get those large licensing booths and whatnot. They're just going to fill the floor, and then just like San Diego, maybe the smaller people will kind of start getting pushed to the side. I
Yeah,
hope that's not the case.
Well,
it kind of seemed that way because the last couple of years the block was in the front, which is where all the designer toys are and the indie artists. And this year they were in the back, and it was about half the size of the previous years.
Yeah, exactly what happened to San Diego. Got
Yeah, it
yeah.
really
yeah pushed.
disappointing.
Yeah, tossed us in the back. Yeah, I remember going. I mean, I think I've been to New York 3 or 4 times, and it was always nice. The block was right up front. You could hit it right away.
Yeah.
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
Deanne, did you stop by Tenacious Toy booth?
I did.
What was your impression of it? It looked pretty cool. I mean, I should say that's 1,000 Toys. That's where we had Benny from Tenacious Toys was selling our Mechatro Wego robot there. So I was kind of how did it look?
It was a nice setup, and they had a glass case and had the WeGo and a lot of the other toys that they were selling there. They had a lot of different artists and figures there, so they did a really good job with the amount of just stuff that they had, kind of organizing it and keeping it all looking nice.
Yeah, and that's kind of how New York Comic Con has always been to me. It's nothing like a designer con where it's a bunch of independent artists managing their booth. It always seems like New York Comic Con, or even San Diego at this point, it's larger booths helping to collaborate with and manage the releases and signings of other artists. Like, My Plastic Heart,
Clutter.
yeah, Clutter, Tenacious Toys, Kid Robot, Martian Toys, DKE or Dispersed. It seems like there's a lot more collaborative and joint efforts with artists and some of the other stores and companies and stuff like that. I think for me it feels like Designer Con and like a Five Points Fest seems more independent, whereas I would see more artists probably exhibiting and vending at their own booth that they're trying to manage.
Right, yeah. That was very true.
Well, I
And
should.
oh, go
Sorry.
ahead.
I was gonna say I wanted to point out like Taipei. Well, the booths are pretty good size. They have these case fronts and then a lot of back area, so they're kind of like little forts. And there's a lot of group booths at Taipei Toy Festival as well.
Yeah.
Like Oma has a big crew in a booth, and usually a lot of times, it was 5 or 6 artists in a single booth
Mm.
to kind of
Now
share.
that's set up at Taipei Toy Fest. It looks like most of the booths kind of look the same. They all have like the glass cases up front. And is that how it is? Are the glass cases supplied to every booth, or is that something the exhibitors have to rent or purchase for their booth?
No, that's the booth setup. I think there's some flexibility on how you configure it, but all the booths have that. that setup.
Do you like that? Do you prefer that sort of everyone like cookie cutter, everyone sort of looks the same look, or do you prefer going to a convention like a Designer Con or New York where they can kind of put their own spin and layout and setup on their booths?
Well, the one thing I do like about it, because the show is so dense with the cases, it helps bring everything up, as opposed if it's all just tables and everything's
Yeah.
kind of low and loose. In certain way, yeah, I think it's really nice, and then people did some really nice displays in their cases, and so it's kind of a nice way to kind of be able to see everything, even if it's all sold out. So I mean, it looks like everything is sort of highlighted on this display. So
It sounds nice as an exhibitor. I mean, I've done several conventions, and I'm lugging around DTOF cabinets and 6-foot tables, and the half of my car is just items to set up and display stuff. And it sounds like Taipei is sort of, they just supply all that for you. You have no worries, but other than bringing your own product.
Yeah. And some of them feel like little stores. Like you have to go inside, and I don't know, it takes that pain in the ass of like you say, like bringing all that stuff to put it together and all that.
Yeah.
And then you can display your things. Like that's what matters, not the booth.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Yeah, I like it. I would like that better than.
Okay, I'm going to ask each of you a question, and I want you to fill in the blank. Don, the
Yes.
best thing about Taipei Toy Fest was?
Best thing, getting to see so many artists from everywhere all together in one place and eating great Chinese food with them.
Okay. Carlos, you would do Singapore Toy Games and Comic Convention again because?
Because it's a different audience altogether. It's really good to see what people from around the world like buying, and it's also very inspirational. Like it kind of like boosted my like me wanting to do more stuff, not just like like I don't know, like not just little releases here and there, but like you see all these people releasing stuff all the time, and it's like it's very inspirational. It is like all these conventions, apart from the people, the food, the amazing toys, I like it because as an artist you can absorb all these different things that are going on that you're not like exposed to. It could be the city, it could be in the convention, but it's really nice because it makes you more creative.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say kaya toast.
What? Kaya toast. Well, yeah. Kaya toast.
And Deanne, this one's for you. I mean, you're doing 3 conventions a month, you said, so you're very knowledgeable in the way of conventions. What is it about New York Comic Con that is a standout convention for you?
It stands out partially because it's so big and it's like the Comic Con for me. I get to meet a lot of the artists that I interact with on Instagram and other social media outlets.
Mm-hmm.
You get to actually see them in person and see what they do, and I really enjoy that about that convention.
Right. One thing I often heard people talking about San Diego Comic Con, it has 140,000 attendees in 4 days, and oh my God, it's amazing to have that much foot traffic. But in the end of the day, 135,000 of that can care less to even look at the stuff that we're trying to sell. So, I mean, how do you feel about as far as like in New York? I mean, yeah, it's packed and tons of traffic, but do you think that helps you in any sort of way? Or do you think it
definitely does help in a way, just being visible. So if people see your work, whether or not they're interested at the time, when they see it again, they're like, oh, I remember that from last year, and maybe they'll take a closer look at it. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll be like, oh, my sister would love this.
Right.
So just being visible, I think, helps a lot, and eventually they'll at least acknowledge that they've seen you before.
Yeah.
Right. And what about the newcomers to your sort of brand? And when you go into a large convention, I know, not everyone's familiar with the designer toy scene, so the kind of way to wean them in is through the blind boxes and the smaller ticket items, especially anything that's under $20, and then, the customs and the more expensive artwork. I think that kind of comes with time with your established fan base. So have you noticed anything at the conventions being like what sells better than others at conventions?
It's kind of a mixed bag. So it really depends on how you price each item, and a lot of it depends on the size of the item for our particular audience. We have some plush that are $40 and we have some that are $10. And a lot of people want those $40 plush and they see the value in it because it's so much bigger, but can't always afford that. So they'll get the $10 plush of the same character. We're going to have a little bit of, we're going to have to actually sell the Sofubi because it's a $25 item versus the size of like our standard size plush that's only $20, and the people that we currently sell to don't know a lot about Sofubi. Right. So we're going to have to like teach them about them in the process in order to get them to understand the value behind it.
I mean, it's priced extremely well. $25. I mean,
it's
that's the low end of designer toys for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the size of that Croco Nana?
It's 5 inches long, and that was for the blanks too.
That's a fantastic price, and I imagine they were selling pretty well at that price.
They were. We sold majority of them on Thursday when a lot of the Sofubi buyers were actually at the con.
Did you sell out?
Not quite, but almost.
Okay, good. And yeah, like I agree with you. Like you have to make the people understand why this thing that is like 5 inches costs the same as this big plush, because they don't know. They just see like, okay, one is bigger, one is smaller. I want more for my buck. But when they understand that it's handcrafted, it's made in Japan, and all what's behind the Sofubi more than other toys, they'll be like, oh, okay, I understand.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Deanne, I think that your Croco Nana Sofubi toys, it's only going to help and bring more eyes to the designer toy scene. I think, your fan base, you have a very popular brand, but your fan base probably is only partially familiar with designer toys, I would think, because, a lot of your stuff is plush, and then unfortunately plush is kind of like an outlier of the designer toy scene. I think there's plush people, and then there's vinyl people, and then there is some crossover, but I think with you now working in vinyl, especially a medium like Sofubi, it's gonna make people take a second look at designer toys, and I think you're only gonna help, and I think that's great.
Yeah, that's something that I think will be a big part of next year. Is I'd like to do some panels at the anime conventions because it's related to Japan and Japanese culture. I think that would be a good way to introduce those people attending anime conventions that might not know about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find that really interesting about Deanne's kind of come up in a different world from the rest of us. I mean, she's been doing anime conventions. Last year was your first decon, right?
Yeah, it was.
So,
I found out about it too late the year before, and I was seeing all these crazy, awesome toys that I wanted to buy, and I was like, why am I not there?
Yeah,
so I find that really fascinating that she's kind of come up almost from a completely different universe than most of us that are in our incestuous little scene. She's kind of been out in a whole different area of space, and the one thing I found really interesting was she just in the nick of time got a good sized box of her plushies sent to Singapore to sell, and they sold really well. And I was talking to some retailers that are Singapore based, and they're like, oh, Singapore people, they actually don't buy plushies. And I was like, well, they bought these plushies.
Yeah.
And I just found it really interesting how her designs really seemed to attract. And it wasn't all cosplayers, but there was a lot of cosplayers that kind of the Croco Nana caught their eye.
Yeah.
And I'm just I was curious if Deanne wanted to say anything else about kind of coming up in a completely different universe. Are there more other character designers that are out in that vector of space that we don't know about? Or you
I want
just
to know more about how she got started. I mean, I know she came up independently, but it seems like Sorbet Jungle has become like a pretty established brand all around the world. I mean, her characters are not only do they have the cute aesthetic that a lot of people just instantly gravitate to, but it's that play on words like the croconana, combining the combination of a banana and a crocodile. You have that with a lot of your toys and plushes, and I think that's great. And I want to know like more about like how did you get started? Are you going to be going into licensing and license expos and stuff like that?
It's kind of everything is an option. I don't have one specific direction that I'm going. I'm kind of trying a little bit of everything and seeing what sticks. I've been doing it for 7 years now, I think, and 3 years full time. And I was working at the hospital and decided that I was just not happy with what I was doing and wanted to try pursuing a career in art again. So I was already attending anime conventions because I've always really loved Japanese animation and the stories behind that. It was pretty easy to get a booth or like an artist table there and start out. And it was really kind of small. I just took commissions and made buttons and eventually got to creating my own characters because I really love the cute aesthetic that is very prominent in Japanese animation. And then going from there, I got from just creating cute animals to mashing things up so that I would have my own characters and IP to then do any number of products with.
I mean, I'm looking at your website now. Like, you got tons of product. I mean, that's the advantage you have of going to conventions. You got jewelry and pins and plushes and shirts, and I mean, you're covering a lot of different areas, and I think that's a great advantage to have when you go to conventions versus a lot of artists in the toy scene. They'll just set up a booth with only one designer toy to sell, but you have a widespread and variety for tons of different potential customers.
Yeah, it's kind of a diversifying my portfolio.
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to want plush, but a lot of people do. And not everybody wants jewelry. So it's kind of just whatever I decide I want to create is what I make. And if people like it, cool. If they don't, then I just move on to something else.
Nice.
Do you recommend any of the designer toy artists in the US to try to go to to show at some of the anime cons?
Designer toy artists?
Yeah.
Because the market's very different, I feel like until there's more knowledge of the designer toy scene, it might be a little bit difficult to start with, but I think it's worth pursuing.
I nominate Carlos to try it. Give it a shot, Carlos.
Go, Carlos.
And you're coughing up the bucks to me for me to make it?
No, this is your gamble.
You could do like a group booth, like a designer toy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like it could be, so it's not so much of a monetary gamble. You can just like get a group of people to do it. And it's true, like it's a complete different crowd, And I think like that's one of the crazy things, Gary, that all these conventions, like you see like a predominant thing that sells. So it's kind of like cool that Deanne has like a range of different things, because then, she always gonna have something that is gonna appeal for that particular crowd,
Yeah.
Like in the designer toys, the plush are, part of it, and people don't pay too much attention to them. But her designs are really cool. I love her croconana, and the pins that she makes. That she has this Cobra ice cream thingy. That's one of my favorites. And it's crazy because you see all these designs, and I want to see them in all the forms, like in a sofubi, in a plush. So it's really invigorating, like for me as an artist, to see all these, creativity around you. Also the other two artists that were in the booth from Japan, they were awesome too. They were killing it as well at the show. They had so much cool shit, and again, it's like really nice to see like how other people, like other artists that make what we do, how they do it, how they sell it, how they manage the business part of it, because sometimes that's hard. The creative part is the easy part, because you can always doodle a character, but actually produce it, market it, sell it, that's the hard part. And to see, Deanne, like with her characters and all the array of products that she has, it's really cool. It's really, really cool. And it was crazy because those plushes got to the show like last minute. I remember she was like going crazy with
I was going crazy.
It was like they were late and whatever, but she managed to get them in the show. It was insane, dude.
I mean, yeah. I mean, how stressful is that to send stuff over to an overseas convention? I mean, there's going to be customs, and how do you decide if you're going to bring it on the plane with you, or if you want to ship it ahead of time? Because then there's that long delay, unknown delay of sending stuff overseas, and then how do you decide if it's a convention you've never been to? How do you decide how much product to bring? Do you bring just enough to test the market, or do you bring too much with the potential of it not all selling, and then having to pay the expense of shipping it back?
Well, for me, I didn't know how much room we were going to have, so I just brought the things that I thought would sell the best. And
Okay.
the Crocanana plush were the bigger item, and then I brought all of my pins. And those would all went on my carry-on because they're heavy and I didn't want to ship them.
Yeah.
And then I shipped my plush directly from my manufacturer to save on costs.
Talking about, I didn't see that much plush at Taipei. The one exception was, do you guys know Robin Tang? He has this really cute, it's like a little animal with 3 eyes on stalks. And he had a new...
Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. And he did a new plush of that. That was just super, super duper cute.
Nice.
Robin Tang Antics, I think it's his Instagram handle. So... yeah, he's one artist that just kind of stands out to me that seems to be really doing his own. He's a Taiwanese artist, just kind of hyper original, not kind of chasing some of the other trends. I really like his stuff.
Oh man, trends! So many people chasing trends.
There was a lot of stuff in Taipei, especially from, I want to say, some mainland artists that kind of seem to be doing, this is our twist, not on a new character, but sort of our kind of tweak of something that already exists as a toy.
Yeah.
Not falling that far from the...
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of that stuff. A lot of IP borrowing. There's a lot of like unlicensed mashups. Or I don't have a problem with licensed stuff. There's just a lot of unlicensed stuff, currently at the moment.
Yeah, some people, you wish they were just, pushing it a little bit harder instead of like starting with the idea, well, I'm going to make a Salpha and then working from that, as opposed to like, I have these great characters, what's the best representation of them? So, I mean, for the most part, most of the stuff was really, really interesting, but there were a few things that were...
Yeah, there is some amazing stuff coming out, but at the same time, there's a lot of borrowed ideas still. So do you think that, with the struggling period of designer toys, that people started going with like the unlicensed, like fan art route, and do you think that easier route is why we see more of that kind of stuff today?
Sure. I'm sure everybody who makes stuff has they're going to make a toy, they want it to sell.
Yeah.
I guess it's just, if you're young and don't have enough confidence, maybe you let that shape the thing you make a little too much. Another thing in the East, there's a lot of, as opposed to Japan, where most of the toys are self-produced, there are a lot of like sort of producers. I mean, say for Mame Moyashi with Maguro Senpai, that's actually, there's a brand that licensed or commissioned Chino to actually make toys. There's several new labels where a company is actually paying for the production. So I mean, once that happens, I'm sure there's a lot more focus on, okay, we got to make stuff that sells. So as opposed to an artist saying, this is my vision, and I'm just going to make what I want. Hopefully it'll sell.
Yeah. I get it. It's definitely a lot more risky to do something that people aren't familiar with. It's so much easier to go with a property or a pop culture item that people already have a built-in fan base for. And but at the same time, I miss the days of designer toys being mostly original ideas and characters that you aren't familiar with. It seems like more so today than ever, it's fan art designer toys. And which is fine, but at the same time, it's really taken over the designer toys, I feel. And there's another thing when you're talking about like the Asia toys, like there's so many newcomers and companies, like it's really hard to stay on top of it. And especially on the cute side of the scenes, it's like I haven't developed or acclimated to all the styles of all these newcomers. So right now, a lot of the cute, especially the cute toys, they all sort of look the same to me. And I haven't been able to separate exactly who's who just yet.
Well, there is just so much out there, and if it's not, it's getting enough where it's like nichified. So it's like if it's not exactly what's in your wheelhouse, it's all you're not gonna spend the mental effort to kind of.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel like there's just so much. You cannot possibly be an expert in any one thing. And we've been doing this podcast for, a year and 9 months, I think. And there's nothing, I feel like we've only covered maybe 25% of the toy scene or represent 25% of it. There's just so much we haven't touched on or talked about. And I don't know, I feel like it's like we're almost like I feel like in the constant state of drowning. Like I got my floaties on, and we're just keeping our heads above water, but just struggling. And I never had that feeling like in the beginning of doing the podcast, especially in doing it. I think in the beginning it was actually easier. I don't remember there being so much new stuff when we started. I think now it's just there's so much new stuff that you just feel like there's a pressure to try to cover it all, but you can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, you do what you can do, Gary.
Yeah. It seems like there's a lot more in the last year or two of like new companies and artists.
Yeah, but I feel like it's mainly the East. Like a lot of artists and companies coming out of the East, and they're getting good coverage on the toy blogs, but I still feel a little in the dark because there is so many new names. And I think it just takes a while to acclimate to all the newness that's coming out of the East. And so, Don, I mean, being an Easterner yourself, I mean, I don't feel like I'm seeing all of the Eastern toy news on our regular toy blogs, and I follow social media to a degree. But where are you getting your news? Is it mainly through Instagram?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
People whispering in each other's ears, like, what's the next?
Yeah.
So there was, I mean, and I'm usually soaking in it. I'm still always just, a lot of times I got to see something 5 times before it kind of registers and sticks. There was Teresa Hawkins mentioned some Fox character.
Joby Fox? Joby?
Yes, Joby. I'd never heard of Joby.
I love Joby.
And yeah, again, massive line for the Joby releases.
Oh, really? I mean, I'm familiar with Joby. I don't know like the popularity level of it. I probably couldn't even tell you the producer of it. But Teresa definitely could for sure. But because that's her thing, that's her wheelhouse. But like you said, there's so much stuff you can't possibly stay on top of. Like recently, Horrible Adorables came on and played some games with us, so like trivia questions, and I'm thinking I'll do fairly decent at it. But no, I did terrible. Like this is all stuff I've seen before too, and it was so frustrating because I know I've seen it, but I couldn't picture what it was, who the artist was, like the colors of the things, and I did really, really bad.
That's why just stick with what you love.
Well,
something
you can do that as a collector, but as a podcast, we can't. The scene's bigger than ourselves. We gotta try to cover the diversity and the variety that is the toy scene. And unfortunately, that means we do have to step out our comfort zones and reach out to, and cover certain areas that maybe we're not, informed on or knowledgeable on, or, and that's where the pressure comes in. And I definitely, it's self-imposed pressure. I don't think George and Carlos and Teresa feel that pressure at all. I think I don't even think the listeners would mind if we took more time off than we do. And I think it's just self-imposed, and it's just something that, I just want to be good. I just want to make this thing good. And, I've noticed that the downloads are slipping, and I reach out to the stopping ground and trying to, where are we going wrong? How can we get the people back? And how can we improve and get better? And, I don't want to just do interviews. That's not fun for me. But I also like discussion. But I also enjoy games and trying to find that balance that I enjoy, to do it weekly, and then that the listeners are still going to hang around for.
Right. Well, I like the way we with Deanne on this. This is her first podcast. And instead of it being, an hour of you grilling her, it's just kind of organically, as we're talking about the convention, and just little bits of how organically come out.
Yeah, totally. And I much prefer that. Mm-hmm. I much prefer just casual discussion versus just focused interview. But speaking of which, let's get back to Deanne. And Deanne, Don was saying that you came up through different channels, the anime conventions and stuff like that. So, are you familiar with designer toys, and do you collect them?
I do. I specifically Sofubi, but I do have a few resin pieces as well.
Okay. And what type of collector are you? What type of style do you gravitate towards?
Always at least somewhat cute. I do creepy cute things, but it can't be gross.
It can't be oozing with pus and stuff like that.
And I know there are a lot of people out there that like it, but that's not my thing.
Right. And that's the thing I was talking about. Is that's the whole side of toys that I can't have a conversation on, or I can't carry a conversation in that area because I don't follow it, and that's where we have to reach out to someone, and that's where this becomes a team effort.
Nice team effort.
Who else is still doing plush stuff? I mean, like I said, Deanne's got her nice Croconana, and Robin Tang did the plush, but I didn't see much else at DF.
Flat Bunny, I think is one of the only ones that I can, Deanne and Flat Bunny. I did the Banana Berita, but I just did a really small run because I knew that it wasn't gonna sell like crazy. I mean, luckily I've sold all of them, but sometimes it's a hard sell. You have to have an amazing character that people understand right away, and it makes them laugh or giggle, and they'll get it. It's a weird thing.
The dragon dog, he just came out, right?
Martin Shoe.
Yeah.
He's for a while.
That's cool.
Bencito did some plush skull bunnies. Jerome, Hyperactive Monkey, he's done some plush as well.
Yeah, it's definitely been done, and you can definitely do it. I just don't know that most people can do it in the minimum order quantity that the mass production requires, 1,000 pieces. And I think more people would do it if they could do smaller runs of 30 to 50 pieces. But in that case, you can't make it cost effective. Most people assume that a plush is anywhere between $20 and $50, and going up above that range is really going to kill your sales, I think. Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of the producers that can do those small runs, like Flat Bonnie and Lana Crooks and many others, they're all sort of doing their own thing. They don't have time to dedicate to doing a large run for somebody else.
How did the plush do at DCon last year, Deanne?
They did pretty well. I knew going into it that it was a completely different audience from my usual. I think the price point was really nice for a lot of people. And there was a lot of kids that were there as well, so their parents would buy them plush toys rather than something they could break.
Yeah.
Then the $300 kaiju.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you definitely need a Yummy World or what you're doing with Sorbet Jungle, something that's like a brand in itself, and that people want. I mean, definitely the cute factor seems to definitely help as far as plush goes. You don't see too many ugly, evil-looking plush For the most part, it seems to be, it leans on the cuter side.
Yeah.
But maybe there should
Ugly
be.
dolls.
Oh yeah, ugly dolls. But that's
Yeah, but those are still cute. Those are like goofy, cute looking.
Yes.
Do you think something that is a little more on the grotesque side of plush do you think it would do well? Could it do well?
I feel
I
like
find
it
some of
could.
the
'Cause
hard gut stuff grotesque, but that's just because I'm squeamish.
there isn't anything like that out there right now, so maybe it would do really well.
yeah.
Carlos, do it.
Wow, why me?
I don't know. I like
the
you to be the guinea pig on everything.
I am the guinea pig of the show. Come on, do it. And if it goes well, it was your idea. If it goes bad, my bad.
I'd like to see like those plush, your skull, your simple
Yeah.
skull.
You know what? I tried that with these guys from Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And they disappeared, never heard back from them because they already had like I think they got busy or I don't know, but yeah, I wanted to do like the calaverita because like you said, there's not enough like those. I mean, I could make it like pussy and whatever with like different stitches and like embroidery and stuff like that, but yeah, I've been thinking about that. But like you said, it has to be like, a big order. So like what Deanne has with the croconanas that I like is that you have different versions of the same, like, the green one, the ripe one. So it's a nice, clever way to, to do the colorways, just like with toys.
Yeah.
But in the plush, for some reason, you might have a little... I don't know. It doesn't feel so much like that. It feels like a new piece, at least to me when I see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. When I saw her stuff last year in Deacon, I really liked it, and her setup is like super professional. You can tell she goes to a lot of conventions. It makes us look like chumps, dude. It's like that's what I like TTF because everybody has like a certain the booth. It's not gonna like make you look like like not professional. Her booth was like super cool.
A thing that I'm starting to see, especially in Asia as well, but just to go giant with one piece, have a 4-foot something made just to put out in front of your booth. I'm seeing a lot more. A lot of people working in fiberglass and
photo ops.
And Croconana, I saw what was it, a 6-foot plush at
Yeah.
It was huge. I took like 4 or 5 people holding the thing up.
Where does that leave?
Is that a promotional thing? Is that available for sale? Or is that strictly as to draw people into your booth?
A little bit of both. So we did it originally because a lot of people were requesting a 6-foot plush.
Wow.
And we're just like, well, let's see if we can make it. And we did it. And now we're just trying to figure out how to get it to people.
I'm telling you, that would be huge because my wife and I know a lot of people that sleep with those body pillows. There was a time my wife liked to spoon with me, but no, she's fallen in love with her 6-foot body pillow. And if you can make a Croconana
huggable,
in a so if someone wants to sleep with it, you can tap into that very popular body pillow market.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's gonna take up your whole bed, but
yeah, it's huge, dude.
You can, like I'm saying, you can refine it to be to target that market.
Like we size it a little bit.
Or how about since you travel a lot, how about those little those sleeping pillows everyone snaps around their necks?
Oh yeah, the neck pillows.
Make a Croconana neck pillow.
We did.
You did?
Yeah, we had those at New York too.
Yeah.
Oh really? Nice.
Yeah. Those are all handmade. We just get
brilliant.
Printed fabric and then sew them and stuff them.
Oh, you need to get those in airports. So I would much rather buy something like that than just the standard one that you see everyone wearing.
Yeah. Because then you can display it as a piece. It doesn't. Mm-hmm. It camouflages as a plush.
Totally.
Like a little cat curled up or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen some animal ones at the airport here and there.
I've seen a few good ones. I've never seen one that was good. I think Croconana would be awesome.
Yeah.
We'll have to try it, like refine him.
Well, let's talk about DesignerCon. We got DesignerCon coming up. Are you guys excited? It's like 3 weeks away.
Oh my God.
What are you looking forward to? Are you ready?
Not ready.
Not
No.
ready.
Not
Always
ready.
ready.
There you go.
Pro.
Thank you.
We have like 2 conventions in between, so I'm not even thinking about DCon quite yet.
It's just another day
That's
for you.
funny.
I mean, it's 3 weeks away, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're gonna start seeing all the exclusives and releases. And what are you guys looking forward to? Are you looking forward to just doing the conventions? So you guys are all exhibiting.
Yeah.
But do you? I know there's a lot of after parties and stuff like that. Do you guys take part in any of that stuff?
Last year was my first designer con, actually. So I went to the parties, and yeah, I mean the whole event was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Enjoyed
the
it.
party this year, it seems that it's gonna be really cool, and again, seeing people, seeing your friends, seeing awesome, toys and resin, and that's another thing that I noticed that here in DesignerCon, people like the resin stuff, but in Singapore, they don't really care for it. It's all Sofubi.
That's true.
But
Yeah,
that's how
'cause
the designer toy scene
again-
was in 2005, 2006 too. There was hardly any resin around.
Yeah.
And look at it now.
Yeah, but now it's like people understand a little bit more of the the fact that you're casting it, you're making it. It's like I don't know, it's more of a sculpture than a toy. But I'm excited to see what people bring, and I'm always excited to see how the convention grows, because it's every year there's something new. I've heard a couple of cool things gonna happen this year that I cannot talk
What are you
about.
going to be bringing, Carlos?
Me, I'm making
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of resins. I'm working on some pieces to help the relief. That's how you say it, like for the earthquake that just happened in Mexico.
Uh-huh.
So I created these 2 characters. One is like a rescue dog that is really famous.
Oh yeah.
That's been all over the news and stuff, and a mole that are the topos, the guys that go and rescue the people that are trapped underneath the buildings. So I'm gonna make those 2 in resin. My friend Willy Cow, it's helping me. He's modeling them for me. He's not charging, and then I'm gonna print them with the guys at Monkey King. They're gonna let me print them for free as well, and all the money that I get from that, I'm gonna donate, like all of it, to help the people, because it's
Awesome.
really messed up. So it's a nice way to to put something in the hands of the people that like my stuff, but at the same time give back. So I'm gonna be concentrating on that, and a few things here and there, like the pins and some of that stuff. But for this year, I want to concentrate on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because it's crazy, man.
You're a good guy, Carlos. Good
Yeah.
Samaritan.
No, dude, but it's really nice to have like a network of people that that are creative and that are willing to help. When you find that, it's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
It makes you
That's
you
really
happy.
awesome.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
gives me hope, dude. And of course, I'm making a custom for the show,
For the show.
1,000 toys.
Did we mention the show?
There's a bunch of shows. Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
the 1,000 Toys show.
Well, I'm going to Decon wearing both of my work hats, so I'm going to be crazy busy. For the 1,000 toys, we're doing another. Last year we did the Metro Wego custom show. This year we're doing a custom show on our 1/6 figure called the Synthetic Human. Yeah, you're talking about all the different toys and genres or whatever. There's a whole another 1/6 scene that I'm just starting to learn about. sort of.
Insane, dude.
So we have the first toy that 1,000 Toys created that really put us on the map was the Synthetic Human, and so we're going to do a custom show using that figure. So it's kind of an action figure based custom show, which I think will be pretty different for Designer Con. We'll be putting out the list of who's participating. There's a lot of the usual suspects, but then some artists that from the 1/6 world that people don't really know about. And the thing I'm really excited about is like earlier this year we did a 50% size of the synthetic human. It's a 1/12 scale. Beautiful articulated toy. And now we're starting to do artist crossovers with that figure. And the first 2 releases of that series are going to be at Decon. The series is called New Synth Initiative. And we're doing a crossover with I don't know if you guys know the Toy Pizza guys and the Knights of the Slice.
I'm familiar, yeah.
The pizza, they've done their figure in Glios, but we're doing a new synth version of that. And then we also have the next Man synth with Real Head. So that the first releases from those are going to be at Designer Con. That should be pretty cool.
Very cool. Are you guys doing another thing with the app there as well?
Yeah, so as I put on my other hat, we're actually going to be doing a collector quest, similar to what we did last year, only bigger and grander and bigger. I lost that. There was another adjective I was stretching for there, and
you didn't stretch enough.
So yeah, because we've been refining the quests. We did the first one at Decon last year, and then we've been doing them. We had one at ToyCon UK. We had one at San Diego Comic-Con, and so now we're kind of bringing the next generation one to.
You want to give us a little hint? I mean, it's only by the time this releases, maybe 3 weeks. Do you want to give us a little hint as what prizes or what people can expect from it? Or what to download? Tell them what to download.
The quest is going to be inside of our PowerCore Collector app, which also has free messaging stickers. We had a Decon. There's still Decon stickers in there. So if you just download PowerCore Collector, and then the quest will show up inside that app, and then you can check out our webpage where we'll have more details.
No hints of prizes?
We still got 3 weeks, man.
No, you're supposed to come on the show with exclusives. Okay, so you don't. So we'll just send people to. If you're interested in learning more, go to powercore.io. How about you, Deanne? What you got going on for DesignerCon?
We'll have a lot of our new plush and some new pins.
Will you have any more of the Croconana Sufubis there as well?
We're planning our next colorway to release there.
Oh, sweet. Maybe painted?
Ideally, yes. I think I have enough time to do that too, so.
Oh, are you going to do it yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
The masks take a while to do, so
yeah.
I'll be painting them.
You getting masks made for Croconana?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice.
It'll just make it a lot easier to get the basic things down, and then
you can do
the fun parts.
Nice.
Well, awesome. I look forward to seeing you all there. It's gonna be fun.
Likewise.
I'll be walking around. I'll be wearing my Marsham Toy Hour shirt. If you all want a Marsham Toy Hour shirt, go to marshamtoyhour.threadless.com. If we see you wearing one at the convention, we will give you a free enamel pin. Otherwise, no shirts have been purchased yet, but we're hoping we see a few there. I'll edit that out because that sounds bad.
Is there going to be some place to buy pennants at the show?
Yeah, are you
no one's buying those either. But yeah, if you want to check out
I really regret not picking up a pennant at 5 points.
Oh, you do? Well, you'll get your second chance at DesignerCon. We'll have some pennants and pins over at George's booth, and then Double G Toys. I'm not sure the number, but we'll get it for next episode. And then I don't anticipate being at the after party. You never know, but right now I'm probably going to say I won't be there. Teresa and I and a couple others on Marsham have been talking about going over to the Bullmore and hitting the lanes and eating some Pazookies and stuff like that. So if that sounds like something you would want to do, join us.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it should be fun.
You're not a $12 beer guy?
No, not at all. And I think the event's probably amazing for a lot of people, but I'm not huge into watching live painting. I'm not huge into the DJs and stuff like that. So it's just not my environment. So, I'm not saying I won't be there. It's possible, but I'm also kind of hard of hearing. So that kind of environment's really bad for me, especially to have a conversation with people. So I will be at the Bullmore doing other things. So that's it. I thank you for everyone for joining and sharing your experiences at New York Comic Con, Singapore, Taipei. That was awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's fun to talk about it.
We'll see you in a few weeks, and why don't each of you take a brief moment and let everyone know where they can find you and your work. How about you go first, Deanne?
You can find my work on sorbetjungle.com, also Sorbet Jungle on Instagram and Facebook, and then my more toy-centric Instagram, Curiosity. It's Curiosity, _D.
Well, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And Don, why don't you go next?
Okay. You can find my personal Instagram at Datadub. You can find out everything about 1000 Toys on Instagram at 1000 Toys. And PowerCore, you can find out them on Instagram at powercore.io.
Okay. Beast Boy.
At the Beast Brothers on Instagram, and at my name is Chamaco. Of course, come on.
Of course, sure. Are we gonna see any Chamaco wear at DCon?
Yeah, I will bring some of the stuff.
Okay.
Is Chamaco coming? More
Of
important.
course, yeah. You can hang out with him.
Oh, is he just gonna hang out at your booth? You should put him how the grumpy cat just sits on a pillow and everyone gets a photo opportunity. You should do that with Chamaco.
There you go. There you
Makes-
go.
makes him-
charge a $1.
Just $1 to raise funds for Mexico relief.
There you go.
You should give him a little rescue dog helmet.
I actually was trying to make something like that for a photo, but that would be funny. I actually gonna look into doing that because it's a fun way to also gather funds for the help.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, good idea.
There you go. That one was free.
I'll give you your cut. I'll let you take a free photo.
Ooh, thanks, buddy.
Oh, you
so-
don't know Chamaco, and it's your first time in DCon too, right?
No, not my first time at DCon. No, I've been there
Oh.
before.
Oh.
I've exhibited there, and it's just once I had the kids, I just sort of stopped going. So we're going out there and just gonna walk around and see what's going on. It's gonna be fun.
Awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be fun, dude.
Yep.
I'm excited.
And I'm gonna,
Look forward to it.
when I need a rest, I'll crash at your booth.
Yeah, I know where. I know there's a secret. There's a secret spot where there's like a green room
Yeah.
with a couch and a fridge. I don't know.
But that's for
It's-
exhibitors. But
Yeah, take a nap.
take a
I
nap.
don't think
I
it's
didn't
for
know about that.
exhibitors. I think it's I just managed to find this place. I'll show you. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
I'm gonna be that annoying attendee who kind of overstays their welcome at every booth, and I'm gonna ask you to store my backpack, and then I'm just gonna sit in your chair.
Yeah.
And
go
I'm just
for
gonna
it.
I'm just gonna overstay my welcome.
You can sit.
So
in my
get
lap.
used to it. Just prepared. All right, so I am Gary Ham. You can find me at Gary Ham on Instagram or superham.com. This has been the Marsham Toy Hour. We do this every week, not because we have to, but because we want to. So until our next transmission, we're signing off. Bye.
Woo!